today is a special day, a special show, where we're going to talk not only the usual Intel and stuff, but we have, for the first time in the history of the GESARA Show, we have a special guest joining us, and we have something special prepared for you. But we're going to do that after we have done the Intel. And get that over. So we're going to first we'll do the latest news, Intel, so to speak, and then hopefully by then Gerd will have sorted out his microphone, and then we will introduce Gerd and talk about something quite different to what we're normally doing, but very much apt for today's events, and it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Gerd Steeger, because he's someone I've known in Germany for 40 years, and he used to live near me. He now lives in Portugal, in Lisbon. So we got quite an international show today, and I say he's already here. It's just his microphone is being sorted out. So let's hope he can get that. And
there you go.
And he just written to me.
Thank you. Yeah, my hair does look good today.
Your hair is looking good?
My hair is looking good.
Okay, yes, my hair should look good as well today. I hope so. So, right.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Your close-up?
Yes. You still don't get that joke, do you? You know, Cecil B. DeMille, you know, the famous director of the 10 Commandments and Ben-Hur and all of those great old films and whatnot. And the joke was, you know, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Right. Okay, fine. I hope my microphone's working well this time.
Yes, much better than last time.
Yeah, last time my PC had crashed, and I was just in the process of reinstalling it when we had to do the show. And one thing I hadn't worked out was the correct microphone, and I was using the microphone in these headphones as opposed to my proper studio microphone, and that's why my sound was pretty awful. So sorry about that. We got it fixed this time, and it should be good. So I think without further ado, I'll move into the latest Intel, because things are happening, folks. It looks like we are finally getting there. It looks like between now and May is the time when we get the chance to do our exchanges and stuff like that. So any day now. Now, we were told over Easter nothing would happen. That includes today. So from tomorrow, between tomorrow and May the 1st, we should get the opportunity to set our appointments and move things if all goes well. I just heard from Gerd that he's just resetting his iMac. Let's hope that he's restarting his iMac. Let's hope he managed to get his microphone sorted out. So, okay, I'm starting on the Intel. I'm take my headphones off because it's disturbing a little bit. So it's getting exciting, and let's go. So the countdown has started. We're in the end game, and the coming week or 2 weeks will be certainly a time to remember. There will be a blackout, I'm told, and there will be a large declassification of Intel. Now, what exactly they're going to tell the world is anybody's guess. They haven't told us in advance what they're going to say, but it's at most it's going to be 20% of what is happening, because there is so much news you just can't tell the unawoken. And so, as I say, the storm is coming. Now, Project Odin is what is going to be happening. Project Odin is a military special force intelligence agency operation, which is linked to the Starlink satellites and has control of all the grids around the world and can bypass media, radio, internet, basically anything. So it's a means like a bit like the emergency broadcast system, where Project Odin can switch off any other media and replace it with what they want to say, and that's what they're going to be using to tell the world of current events.
Exactly.
And so as regards to global currency reset, MarkZ is saying that a number of bond dealers and bankers are looking for Sunday night into Monday, that's actually now, for things to start happening. So, well, I'm not sure. They told us Easter, and at least in Europe, we still have Easter Monday. So Easter in Europe at least ends on Tuesday. So whether something will happen here, I know in America, Easter Monday is not a working, it is a working day. So maybe things will be starting. We will just have to wait and see.
From what MarkZ said this morning, that they are having, just after his show, they were supposed to have a big conference call at 10 a.m.
But I just heard some MarkZ start saying something.
MarkZ said this morning that they were holding a conference call at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time this morning regarding everything as far as the actual workers at the redemption centers were concerned. So that was pretty promising, but no real news other than that.
Well, that would tie in with the fact that they said nothing happening during the Easter break, which includes Monday. So,
right.
So they're talking to each other today to prepare things. I think things at earliest will be starting tomorrow. So hold on tight. Things are getting exciting. President Trump should be reinstated on Twitter very soon. I'm sure Elon Musk is going to be using his influence to make sure that happens. And I understand there's a lot of resistance to that from the deep state, but we will see how that goes. There's quite a lot happening with Hunter Biden's notebook. There are court cases moving on at the moment, and we will see how much of that will be released. But this will be part of the key of getting rid of Biden, because the evidence on Hunter Biden's laptop proves that Joe Biden has been taking backhanders for years in these biolabs in Ukraine. Which is a reason to remove him as a president, because he was involved in illegal activities.
As well as Harris, Pelosi, and a bunch of others, including Kerry and Mitt Romney, and everybody's implicated in this. So the entire administration comes down at this point. That's
right. And this is basically what we've been waiting for. This is going to be a major event. If you're in New York, now there was a story put out a few days ago that there could be some kind of nuclear event in New York. So if you're in New York, it would be a good idea to leave town, at least for today, and get at least 20-30 miles away from the town, because if something happens, it'd be better not to be there. And if nothing happens, we just have a trip out of town. I don't think anything happens, to be fair. I'm pretty sure that the White Hats will have taken care of it, but there's no guarantee that the deep state will not try something. So if you're in New York, it would be a good idea to get out of town right now.
Well, also the question is that with the Boston Marathon happening today as well, and you had that big evergreen ship that was mirrored stuck off of the coast, just off of Boston Harbor and everything else, and that was supposedly brought back into the channel. It could have been something where they misconstrued it, Boston for New York. So there's that.
Well, yes. Okay. So if you're in Boston as well, take holiday. That's basically what we can say. The collapse of Ukraine, the budget deficit of the independent in the coming months may reach 5 billion. Prime Minister Shimel, if I'm saying that right, probably botching that. All hope is in the United States. The financial bloc of the government is flying there, where they will beg for new loans from the IMF, the World Bank, and the White House. So I'm going to skip the COVID stuff. So General Flynn will be leading the storm of 17 nations. Those are the nations of the alliance, and the militaries for the world's biggest military coup ever. Over 140 militaries of militaries of 140 nations will be involved in this global switchover to the new system, arresting deep state actors, and it's going to be a massive event. You know, there are certain events in your life which you never forget, like the assassination of President Kennedy, 9/11, and whatever's coming now will be one of those once in a lifetime events which everybody will remember. So this time we're awake ahead of time, and I won't say enjoy the show because that's, there's too much nasty happening to say that kind of thing. I just say just be aware of what's happening. It's going to be an interesting period what we're going to go through. It is the largest sting operation which has ever been mounted in the world. Once the governments, like the Biden government and governments of other countries, have been taken down, they will be replaced by martial law, which will most likely be worldwide. And that will be associated with the finalization of the global currency reset. In other words, that's when we have the chance to get our fund exchanged, and blackouts will be imminent. The financial exchange will not be announced to the general public until at least the 1st of May. It could be the 2nd of May. So that gives us a chance to exchange funds beforehand, before everybody else realizes that currencies are even being exchanged. So we're now in the end game, and as I say, the others are not prepared for what's happening because they don't listen to what we say. I don't know how many people are aware of what's happening. I suspect it's probably about 1 million people around the world who know what's happening now, and you guys are amongst them. So congratulations for being ahead of the game. Most of us still think that Joe is president of the USA, and more or less. And well,
oh no, so excuse me.
Yes,
sorry.
You're welcome.
I had man flu all weekend long.
Yes, you were telling about it. And anyway, the deep state plans to take over the world, and that includes this is part of their program, war with Russia, depletion of the global food supply, in order to implant the so-called green pass, which will be their way of controlling the population. In other words, you have to get a green pass, and if you don't have the green pass and you don't follow all their vaccine mandates and do whatever they want to, then you're cut out of your banking, you're cutting out of shopping. That's basically how they want to control everybody, that they want everybody to have this green pass, and you have it or you die of hunger. That's what their plan was.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if anything ever comes that way, always refuse it. Because if the world refuses to do it, how are they going to enforce it on everybody?
Raymond Cocteau is an evil bastard.
Is he the guy who fought this out? Yes.
No, and I'm sorry, referencing an old movie. Again.
Okay.
For those of you, put in the chat if you know the movie.
Right. Okay. So Democrats are blocking Republican efforts to digitally upload Hunter Biden's laptop. So they're trying to release the contents of the laptop so that we can all read it. I don't know. Have you seen anything? I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure they're going to find a way of putting it online.
Sandy gets 10 points.
Sandy gets 10 points?
Mm-hmm. She figured out the movie.
Okay, I don't see it in the chat though, oh, wait a minute, maybe my chat is not up to date. Yeah, for some reason The chat stopped moving on my system. Let me go to up to date. Right, Demolition Man. Okay, we got the news movie. I've seen that movie, but it's some time ago. So now there's apparently a lot of military operations happening in New York tunnels. Flooding and booms that reached from New York to Philadelphia to DC underground tunnels, Epstein, and things. So whatever they're doing something in the tunnels. Maybe they're looking for the bomb. I don't know. But certainly there's something happening in New York right now. And the Hunter Biden trial is happening in Delaware. Now I'm a little bit confused because Real Raw News was telling us that Hunter Biden had already been hanged. So are they now, they put an actor on trial for Hunter Biden? I don't know. Anyway,
it's all a movie. You know, we're just wagging the dog at this point. Yeah.
There are many high-profile case trials and tribunals, and the White Hats are making sure that the details of the cases were being kept hidden due to the fact that the MSN and other elite entities create chaos and misinformation about the trials so as to taint the jury and purge the trials. So let's carry on here. There is some smoking gun evidence on the laptop from hell, but it's not, and no, nothing more there. So we're moving to a common law world. That means the statute law will be replaced by common law in the USA, based according to the laws of 1776, the Constitution. And that will change a lot of things. We're going to move into a much safer world. And the next stage of the deep state cable plan begins. That's Davos Group, World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, Rockefellers, and the United Nations. In this stage, they created a war with Russia, which is already kind of going on, or it's rather Russia doing war with the deep state in Ukraine. And the Chinese Communist Party regime has been with help funded by Rothschild Rockefeller banks in China, who also fund the Wuhan lands and create a supply chain planned collapse. Yes, we're certainly noting a supply chain collapse. That's why as soon as you get funds, get food and supplies which you'll need for the next year if you can. We said this many times, but we need to expect that whatever happens, the shops are going to get empty very soon. And it's better if we have the stuff we need before that happens. In this stage of the planned collapse, they will target the distribution of fertilizer around the world. Russia, the second largest fertilizer produced in the world, will be halted in their fertilizer export through sanctions, and the CCP will willingly stop exports. These deep state moves will affect US, EU, South America, Africa, and all nations from growing food. This was what Bill Gates had wanted for years as he bought out land in the US to halt the growing of foods in the USA. This stage of the deep state plan will ensure the blame will go to climate change, of course, whereas in reality it has been engineered by them.
Mm-hmm.
There are several reasons to use climate change. The most important was to bring in the Green Pass. In other words, you have to have the Green Pass as our, as our part of doing things against climate change, which will of course bring in the global control. The New World Order Deep State Passport connected to your bank account, email, and tracks everything you do, including travel. The Green Pass will bring in the sleeping sheep into full control. So, hidden high-profile trials and tribulations. Many high-profile case trials and tribulations were taking place in the United States, the EU, and Canada. and connected to human and sex trafficking. The hidden courts and prosecutions will not be reported, like the Hunter and Biden trial in Delaware. The White Hats are making sure that details of the cases are kept hidden due to the fact that I think we've already had that. As Q has told us, 20% of the operation will be visible and the other 80% will be covert. So that was the highlights of the intel, which I have marked up. I think the real meaty stuff, even though I'm vegan, I still think the meaty stuff will be happening in the coming week or so as events start to kick off. Now, for us, we can expect in the coming days that it's going to start with the appointments, that we can make appointments. Now, each appointment will be individual, so I can't say we're having appointments on a certain day, because once we announce the 0800 numbers or 1-800 numbers, depending on where you are, and the websites to make appointments, it's up to you to then move forward and make an individual appointment to go and exchange your currency and present your Zim appointments. If you have Zims, expect there to be 2 appointments. One, first of all, for an initial introduction, and then a secondary appointment where you get to place discuss your actual project in more detail. That's what I'm hearing. But they may compress it into one day. It could be that you have a longer appointment. So don't expect to go there twice. They could do it in the same day. They could say come back another day. It will probably be individual according to your location and availability of people to listen to you. And either way, we're expecting this to happen. I know there's been a lot of delays, and I'm hoping there won't be any delays. We've been told between now and the 1st of May, it's supposed to be happening. Now, it could happen on the 30th or 31st of May that you get the call. I don't know. I don't think the actual meetings have to be in that period. I think it's just the time to make the appointments will be in that period. It's possible that our, particularly due to capacity reasons, they may not fit us all in before the 1st of May.
And we will be posting, and getting out the word as soon as we know the 800 numbers or where to contact or what have you. We'll be posting it all over the place on our Telegram channels. We may even have a special Zoom call. We may even, it'll be on our forum on the website, NESARA-GESARA-QFS.com. We'll be getting out the word any way we can on our Signal app, for those of you who have joined us on Signal.
Right. Okay. So yes, we will certainly be putting out the message everywhere we can as soon as we have it, and we are keeping a close watch on events so that we can inform you as soon as we can. So it's just your job to keep an eye on our channels, not just ours. You can also keep on channels on Charlie's and MarkZ's and whoever else you're following who is a part of the movement. I'm sure I'm sure as soon as the message gets out, it will go viral, so to speak, to everyone, but not viral as in COVID, but viral as in news. And right, okay, so that we've done the intel. Now the big question is, has Gerd got his microphone sorted out? Gerd, are you there? Can you talk to us?
I don't see Gerd. There he is.
Oh, hi, Gerd. Can you say something? Hi.
So now it's working. I had to update my app, and I was rebooting my iMac. So at the end, everything is working.
Okay, I'm glad you got that working, because we were a little bit concerned because you're the star guest, and it would be a good idea if you actually take part in the show. So let me give you a brief introduction to who Gerd is. Okay, I've known Gerd for about 40 years. It's about that, isn't it? It's probably actually more, isn't it? Gerd, how long?
Yeah, I was 24 when I met you first. I'm now 64 since since yesterday. I turned to 64.
Right.
So yesterday was my birthday, and so we are talking about at least 40 years, yes.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, well, yeah, I did wish you a happy birthday for yesterday. So Gerd is slightly older than I am, and most people here don't know how old I am, and I'm going to keep that to myself for the time being, but I'm younger than Gerd. And yes, I see lots of happy birthday Gerds in the chat for you. So lots of happy greetings to you. And
thank you very much.
Right, so let me carry on explaining. I got to know Gerd a long time. We were both working for a insurance company at the time, called IBIS, IBIS, which doesn't exist. They haven't existed for a long time, but it existed back then. And we were both like computer programmers. Like I was the lead computer programmer with them, and I was working the and Gerd was kind of learning computer programming, and he kept getting on my nerves, constantly calling me and asking me, how do you do this, how do you do that? And you know, and I was stupid enough to be patient and explain things.
Very kindly said. Actually, I was the pain in your ass.
Well, I would have said the neck. Pain in the neck. So he's the biggest pain in the neck for the last 40 years. But anyway, so I got to know Gerd as this very logical thinking computer programmer. Yeah, the last person you'd associate with spirituality, and we've been talking about various things and information, and you know, Gerd used to live in Mönchengladbach, which is just north of me. I know we have a member of our group who lives in Mönchengladbach, who contacted me long ago, and at some point he moved abroad. He spent a lot of time in Spain, and recently moved from Spain to Portugal, where he's currently living, where his son is also living. Daniel, isn't it? Is with you in Portugal?
Yeah, Daniel is also here in Lisbon. Yes, that's
right. Yeah,
he's almost doing the same thing
as you are. Yes. Yeah. So you know, now I don't know anybody. I can't think of anybody else I know in Germany who I've known so long as I've known Gerd. I mean, we've gone through thick and thin, mostly at a distance. We rarely see each other in person, but we have been keeping electronic communications going over all these years because we've had similar interests, and to a certain extent, he went a lot more into spirituality than I did, due to an event which happened. I think it wasn't it your mother which kicked you off into that direction? What was it, Gerd?
Yeah, you're right. Something happened in my life after my mother died. Many years later, I had contact to my mother, a medial contact, and I was completely surprised how precise these answers were. I got some information about my childhood. Nobody on this earth could give me this kind of information. Only my mother knew it, and me, nobody else. And from that day, everything was completely changed in my life. I was thinking, how is that possible? And I don't want to convince anybody that would be something like evidence, but for me, it was at least enough to completely change my way of thinking.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I was impressed by his story. If I remember correctly, she told you almost exactly what this experience was from your childhood, which is what. And I remember, if I remember rightly, the lady who made the contact was also in Mönchengladbach. Is that right?
The person who I did it with, you mean?
Yes, that's who enabled you to communicate.
Yeah, that was not directly in Mönchengladbach. That was me. It was maybe 20 kilometers away. the most people that don't know the city, so it's not worth to mention the name.
Yes, yeah, fine. But either way, it wasn't far for you back then. And I remember you calling me and telling you how shocked you were at the time.
Yeah. And later some other things came into my life with a mirror reflection. I told you after breakfast, I went back to the bedroom, and I was looking in the mirror, and I've seen my reflection, let's say for 6, 7, 8 seconds, and then it completely changed, and I've seen a completely different person.
Oh, really?
For about 6 seconds, then it disappeared, and I've seen my own reflection again. And it was after breakfast, so only coffee. Don't think about anything like magic mushrooms or whatever. It was only coffee.
Yeah.
And that was really a little bit scary, because I never had an experience something like that ever in my life. And so many things came into my life, and but look, it is very easy. If you are asking for something, for answers, it will come into your life. It's maybe the law of attraction. I don't know. I was always looking for answers, and I got many answers.
Yeah. Now, I've always known Gerd as a logical thinking person, almost too much. I mean, for everything, he was looking for the facts, the data. You know, I mean, I'm doing that too now. You know, when he's thinking the news, I want to see the facts, because I know you can't rely on the news. For me, I started getting more involved in sort of deeply looking into the background information with 9/11, because after 9/11 happened, a friend of mine who's in Australia, by the way, he gave me a video when I visited him in Australia, in Sydney, on the 9/11. And I watched it and I thought, well, this is incredible. And that's when I started, because I thought this can't be. And I started doing deep research. And that's what started me. Was it also 9/11 which started it off for you, Gerd? Or what started you into becoming a truther, or whatever you like to call it?
With the 9/11, I tell you a story. Maybe I didn't mention that, but now is maybe the right moment to talk about that. The first time when I heard that the government is involved in that 9/11, that was when I had a medial connection. I spoke with my mother, and that was 2 days later after the towers crashed. And I said, I was asking my mother, what really happened? What was going on? Terrorist attack? And then I was totally surprised when they wrote that the American government was involved in that. At that time, 2 days after it happened, and before the first documentation came out, I had no idea about what they were talking about. So it was, I remember what they say today, but at that time, I was confused. I was totally confused. And then much later, I've seen the first video about 9/11, and with many, many facts. For example, that what was that tower in Madrid, Windsor Tower in Madrid, was 23 hours in flame. Everybody can find that in Wikipedia. And no steel building ever on this planet broke down based on fire. And the Windsor Tower was really in flame 23 hours. At the end, the steel construction was still there. And that was one part of this very interesting documentation. And they spoke about many, many other things. They brought all the facts together. And then I started to think, oh, wow, this is a completely different point of view. Unlike what the mainstream media was telling us. No? And then I started to use my own brain.
Yeah.
But in the moment when I had the first doubt about that, then my mind is like a terrorist. And I have no peace if it starts working and I give my mind the permission to work. It's like a terrorist.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I spent many hours. You too, Peter.
I spent way too many hours investigating 9/11. I must admit,
hundreds of hours in that research. And today I have absolutely no doubt what really happened. And it was really strange. After Edward Snowden, first he was in Hong Kong, then he went to Russia, and when he was safe in Russia, 2 months later, a documentation came out from a nuclear expert, and this person was explaining in detail, very, very easy to understand for everybody, what really happened and why everything, the sincere, the steel, everything was changed into powder. I don't want to go in that deeper because it's maybe not it's not the issue, it's a subject here of
no. But I know, and we shouldn't dwell too long on 9/11. For me, on the day, there were two things which made me suspicious. The first one, because I was watching on the BBC on that day, and I remember this lady called Jane something. She was announcing that building number 7 had collapsed. But I had just looked at, pictures of the area, because I was quite interested, and I was looking on the internet, and I was looking at the buildings around there, and she was announcing building 7. They didn't call it building 7; they called it something I can't remember offhand what it was.
No, it was building number 7 who crashed together, but there was
the Morrow building.
Huh?
The Morrow building.
The Morrow building. Yeah, anyway, whatever. She was announcing that it had collapsed. Yet behind her, I could see the building, which I recognized as building number 7. And I say, why are they announcing it's collapsed when it's still there? And the other thing which made me really strange is when they showed the plane which supposed to have crashed in Philadelphia. I mean, if you looked at the hole, there was no signs of wreckage. And I thought, well, maybe the camera's not pointing at the right thing, because when a big airplane hits the ground, there's a lot of wreckage, and it was just a hole in the ground and nothing else. So those are the two things which made me kind of curious on the day. But I got into deep research a lot later. Anyway, I think
Peter, somebody just mentioned here in the chat, 9/11 was an awakening, and this person is absolutely right. 9/11 was a really big awakening for the people. Maybe one of the biggest chance to wake up.
Yes. It's also kind of ironic that NESARA GESARA was due to have started on that same day. It had been announced to be explained that day, and it was 9/11 which was used by the deep state to stop it being announced. Which is also an interesting link to today. And anyway, let's move on from 9/11. You later started doing deep research into spirituality. Now, let me just say how a computer programmer's mind works. When you're doing computer programming, you're going through code line by line, making sure that it works, trying to think of every eventuality. And also when something is not working, you then really look at each line, every comma, every dot, every colon, to work out where problems are, you know, and going really deep into the material until you can find what the problem is. And it's a mindset you develop as a computer programmer, in that you're very analytical in what you're doing. You don't care about hearsay or someone saying it. You want to get right down to the line of which has a comma missing or something, and then fix it. And once you learn to think in this highly analytical way, that's when you also start using that on your life, like in the news and things. And that's why computer programmers are quite often the ones who are involved in finding out the truth of the news. And it's not, and Gerd is just as analytical in that as I am, and we often compare notes. And anyway, so you use this kind of thinking. This is something not something I did. I did not go down the spirituality path till much later. I got involved more into personality training. I became a Dale Carnegie training trainer for 8 years in Germany. So I was helping people learn how to hold better speeches, communicate better, that kind of thing. Whereas Gerd spent time investigating the spiritual world, something I was not doing at the time. I didn't really get involved into what Gerd was investigating until Gerd gave me his book to translate into English. And that's when I said, oh my God.
Yeah, it was maybe not easy to translate.
And no, I must admit, because the German language, let me explain German language this way, because this is how my German teacher told me German languages. Never use one or two simple, easy to understand sentences when several long, complicated sentences are enough. And that basically describes the German language. You tend to have sentences which have sub-sentences and further sub-sentences, and you know, the sport is to get the verb, which is right at the end of the sentence, onto about 3 pages after the beginning of the sentence. Isn't that about right? So the German language can be quite complex, and in that way, you know, and okay, Gerd was not that bad, but certainly Germans tend to be rather complicated in the way they think, and a lot of translation has to do with simplifying what is, instead of having one extremely long sentences, you break it up into 3 or 4, which make a lot more sense. And you know, so I spent some time translating Gerd's book, making it sound as if it was written by someone who was actually an English native speaker, rather than just a direct word-for-word translation. And Gerd is telling me that my translation went down well with the British friends of his he was showing it to.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. I gave the book to some British friends, and they were really impressed about the work.
Yeah, as I was. I say, now what, and we're all going through our own personal development. And when I read that book, and I was reading what was being said in this book, I kept saying, oh my God, that sounds like me. When I was hearing the answers from Raphael, which is the kind of spiritual being described in the book, about how life should be, I was constantly thinking, well, you know, that's kind of how I'm thinking, but I haven't been involved in this kind of thinking before. But how come I seem to have naturally got this? I mean, not in everything. Obviously, there were lots of things in there new, but I kept finding myself saying, you know, hey, that's, you know, there must be something into this. And that got me even more fascinated in the book while I was translating it, because I read it for the first time while I was translating it. And I certainly found it fascinating to do.
Yeah, and it gives answers to many questions. Mankind has it already, yeah, let's say over thousands of years. No? The question where we come from, why we are here, and where we go when we die. In real, we cannot die, but I'm talking about the physical, the death of the body.
Yes, that's right. if I was to describe the book in a few terms, I would say that our real life is on the other side, what we would call dead. That is where our real life is, and our real spiritual development is our real development. And we are sent to earth as a kind of test. It's a means of developing yourselves in a way that can't be done Earth is seen to be like a training planet where you have real hard problems to solve, and we choose to come here in order to develop ourselves as a soul. And what I found interesting is it was described that being born was actually much more frightening than dying, because when you're born, then you basically you lose all your memories. You get transformed into a helpless being, the baby, and then you don't know, and you're put on this world without remembering the plan for your life. Although you planned your life before you are reincarnated, you lose that memory. The memory is still implanted in you somewhere, but you have no access to that memory. So you grow up without the knowledge that you're actually just reincarnated in this world, because it's like if an actor goes on a stage, he knows he's an actor. But if an actor goes into life not knowing he's an actor, he might think that what he's doing is real. Yeah. And the whole point of this exercise is that you don't know you're an actor.
But I must interrupt you now, because sometimes it's not working, because we have many cases. Professor Stevenson in the USA was working on that 20, 30 years, that young children have something, they remember something about the previous life. And in that specific cases, you can really say there is a remembering, but the exception of the rule. Look, we are not talking about billions of people as we have here on this planet. These are maybe really few cases, 5, 6. Maybe he has in total 300 cases with children. They know, they remember where they were living before. They remember the name of the parents, the house, the teacher in the school, and many, many, many details. And but I don't want to go into that any deeper, because that is a long story, and it's maybe worth to buy the book from Professor Stevenson.
Yeah, because there is a case of that in your book of this Indian boy who very clearly remembered his past life. And went and met the people. In fact, he, as a young boy, he goes to where he was, to the shop which they ran.
Yeah,
he met his wife.
The case T2 is a most famous case.
And that's a fascinating story. And we're not going to tell that story because you really need to read it in the book, because it goes too detailed to talk about it in the show. But it was a fascinating story, and I certainly found that story, and I looked it up. It's a real story. It's not imagined by any means, and it's a fascinating story, as are many of the stories. Now, let me explain a little bit. The framework of your book is that you get up one morning, you go out and you go and walk to the beach and sit on a bench, looking out at the sea, thinking nothing unusual, just thinking it's a nice day. And this old man comes and joins you on the bench, called Raphael. You've never seen him before, you don't know who he is, and he starts talking to you about spiritual things. You don't know who he is, you say, who is this strange guy? But your communication continues. And that's the framework of the book. Now, that particular part of the story is fictitious. It's just to give it a framework to the story. But it enables the whole thing to be told as a story rather than a documentation. This is not a documentary. It is a story you can read from beginning to end, it's a novel. But the novel is based on facts, and just the framework is basically invented. Is that a correct way of putting your book, Gerd?
Yeah, that is 100% the case. You can say 99% of everything what you read is spiritual wisdom. I took it from not only my own channelings, I took it also from other channelings. I have a very medial friend, Walter Horn, and he also got over, between 96 and 98, he had about 100 channelings, 4 pages long, and some had to do with Atlantis. Where was Atlantis? What was the name of the main city, Agrovia, and the population, and why it came to the disaster. And then in another channeling, they're talking about black holes and many, many things. So at the end, I took that together in my book. What was important to have a straight line. Important to me, and maybe for the people, is to understand that at the end we are all one. That means we are actually the same essence. I'm not talking about the body, the matter. Our body is matter, and matter is only a form. Matter actually doesn't exist, because the only thing what really exists is energy. And the energy has a specific form. It could be in a high vibration level or ultimate vibration level. Then we call it love or God. Or it could be in the lowest vibration level. We call it fear or Satan or whatever. We have different words or terms for that. And but what we have to learn, or what we need to know, is we are all from the same. We are all a piece of the same energy. The body is different, which gives us the chance and the possibility to for 60 years or whatever. Or I don't know how long we live, it's different. So we can make a specific experience, and we can reduce karma, which is also the sense of reincarnation. And but what we really are, the real essence, is our, some people say, soul. And this energy is eternal. It lives forever. You cannot destroy energy. Albert Einstein was absolutely right with that. He was right with a quote that only energy exists, and the atomic bomb was the best example and the best evidence that you can change matter, uran-235, into energy. And the other way around, it's also possible. That means at the end, only energy exists in the whole universe in a different form, but only energy exists. And we are all one. If only our ego gives us the idea of separateness.
Yeah.
But this separateness is actually a lie. It's not real.
So we are kind of separate souls, but we are also all linked together.
And let me tell you, I just have something in my mind, Peter. I was really disappointed about our so-called health minister, Lauterbach. He's working with fear. I tell you one thing, Peter. Fear is the lowest vibration, the lowest energy. And fear, Satanism, whatever, is low energy. Love,
absolutely, yes.
Love is high energy. That means if somebody is working with fear, he wants to manipulate you, he wants to control you, but it's far away from fear. Nobody can convince me that he's on a good high vibration level or in love energy when he is talking negative things or try to control other people. It has nothing to do with love. or to make people afraid. This and a person who is a health minister, he should know that.
For the American
because these
friends,
are the basics in spirituality.
Yeah, absolutely. For our American friends, he's talking about the German Minister for Health, Karl Lauterbach. In America, that would be Fauci. So Lauterbach in Germany is what you'd call Fauci in the USA. Just so you understand who we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think Lauterbach is just as evil as Fauci is, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yes, so that it is very true. The dark forces want to pull us into fear, but we have to express love and truth and a higher level, because we all want to get into the higher levels of 5D, because that's what we're all here about. We're here on this world to develop spiritually, and that is what it's really about. Now, the title of your book is, I find, very interesting. It's called Love Your Enemies. And the theme there, as I understood it, is that your enemies in life are there for a reason, that you're here to develop yourself amongst problems. And that is, your enemies are also here to develop themselves. And the idea is not to hate your enemies, because that would be a lowering of your energies, but to find a way of loving them and making peace with the people people would find. Or how would you express that? Maybe I haven't got that quite right.
Look, I have something in my mind. On the other side, let's say when we die with our physical body and we go to the other side, this world, we call it, we have 7 dimensions on the other side. So when we go back to our home, we are in the 3rd dimension. But this is something like a pre-heaven. That means there is no something like hate, or we have no sicknesses or whatever. And we cannot make this experience, for example, like forgiveness. Forgiveness is something, this experience, we can only make it here, because this life is very special. You can say somebody are telling we have the heaven and we have the hell. No, the hell, you can say, is here.
Yeah.
This is a sandbox where we can play, or the stage where we play our role.
That's right. We're here to develop ourselves, and we're given free will. That means we have the ability to go the wrong way.
Yes.
It's our free will, and that is what shows our ability to develop as a soul. Our ability, because we can develop in the wrong way. We are not predestined to go a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's what's so fascinating about it. So
this is the biggest adventure a soul can make, to reincarnate on Earth. Not for a long time anymore, because even this planet comes into a higher vibration level, and this started already with 2012. And so many people say, yeah, 2012 is the end of this world. It was not the end of the world. It was something like a misinterpretation of the Maya writing. We come into a different world, a completely different world. And that for 1,000 years, that means the people wake up, come into a much higher consciousness level, and we have a completely different understanding. And GESARA is one piece of all, but we have to wake up, because it makes no sense when you change something like a structure, a political structure, whatever, but the people are still in the ego. I had a conversation with my son, who was living in Thailand here, Stephen, when he was 15, and he said, he was talking about something like GESARA. He said, yeah, all the people on the planet are like slaves. We could change that. We have a reset. And he had the idea of GESARA already in the mind. And I said to my son, I said, no, that is not enough. If the people are thinking the same way and feeling the same way, are egoistic, then this reset would work maybe for 2-3 years, and then we have the same situation again. That means two things must come together. We have to wake up. We need something like awakening. We have to control our ego, and we have to go more into the love energy. And we need something like, today it's called GESARA. And then it's really working for a long, long time.
Yeah, the way I understand it is, I know a lot of the people, particularly on this group, are very focusing. Oh, when is the money coming? When, when will we get that? They're not really thinking much far beyond. Oh, I'm going to exchange some notes and get some money, and then things will be right. But that's just one step of many steps. It's like we have a mountain ahead of us of development, and the first section is GESARA, where we get the money and the funds. Beyond that, we develop then, you can give people money and then they will just go and buy a fast car and get buy a yacht and stuff and then do nothing. But then they haven't developed. The thing is to get this energy, which we call money, and then do something really positive out of it. And I've always seen the GESARA as one step on the way to our further development, not as a means to its end. And too many people are just thinking of, when do we get the money? When do we get the money? And not thinking beyond that. And I think it's just a step. It's not the end in itself.
So many people believe the solution is when something comes from outside to inside, but this is a wrong way. It has to come from inside, and then it will show up in the outside. And it's the same thing with GESARA. Of course, we need something like GESARA, but what we also need is we have completely new kind of thinking, different understanding, awareness, and controlling the ego.
Yes.
We have somebody, Eckhart Tolle, who wrote an excellent book about that, and this is what we need in the moment, and then everything together will give us real freedom and inner peace, and then we can really live in a way you could really say then we have something like heaven on earth.
Yes, exactly. So, don't be fixated on the money. I understand what it's like. We've been starved of funds. A lot of us have no money in the bank or very little money in the bank. We're finding it hard to make ends meet, pay our bills, maybe we have big credit card debts, whatever. I can understand why money seems to be so important right now. But we've been brought into the situation by evil forces who want to keep us at this low level. This is preventing us from developing further.
And I believe, Peter, 9/11, and now that with Corona and the vaccination, this was a real chance for the people to wake up. This is what I believe, because it really gave the people the chance to wake up, to be critical, to not to believe everything what was delivered on a silver plate, to use their own brain. This is the reason why we have it.
Yes, that's
this is
right.
what Albert Einstein said.
Yeah.
I believe it was necessary, really necessary. It was something like a real chance for the most people on this planet, 9/11 and this Corona so-called pandemia.
pandemic. Yeah.
The pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, it was originally planned to release NESARA GESARA on September 11th, 2001. Personally, I think the world was not ready. And I think now the world is much readier than it ever was back then. Because back then we weren't so spiritually developed as we are now. And I think a lot of the things that has happened since then, particularly the Trump movement, which has caused a lot of people to wake up, and the truther movements, and just that people are becoming more and more aware that that the news you hear on the BBC or CNN or whatever is not necessarily telling you what's really happening, and that people start to think for themselves. And I think we're much more ready for NESARA GESARA now than we ever were in the past, and also to a certain extent for the spiritual development which follows that, because that's just so important.
Yeah.
So
some people were asking me in the past why you put it into a novel form, this Conversations with God, and actually is a very easy answer. It's much easier to read it in a novel form, and also it's sometimes difficult to how can I explain it? Leave it like that. In a novel form, it's much easier to deliver all the information and the truths behind that.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But for me, because I also read it when I was translating it, the fact that it was in a novel story made it into a narrative, into sort of people love a story, and this is a story which builds upon itself, and you keep going into separate sections, you know, where you talk about one topic, then you're talking about another topic, but it's all building on itself right up to the very special ending which you have in the book. I must admit that your book is very easy to read in the first, say, I think it's 2/3, 3/4 of it. Then it gets really difficult.
Yes. After you can say the half of the page of the book, 50-60%, when you read 50-60% of the book, is easy to read, and then it becomes a little bit more difficult, and the content is more sophisticated. No?
I know, and that was really tough to translate, because I really had to rephrase a lot to make it understandable in English. But I think it worked out well. And although we're saying that section is difficult, it is extremely important what you learn in that difficult section, and it's absolutely worth the effort. And you learn things which you probably never heard of before.
Yeah, because the spirituality and quantum physics are coming together now, and some information at the end of the book you are from the spiritual world, and they're not from me, because they deliver information nobody could deliver. No, a normal person could never deliver this content or this information. Totally impossible. Who could really say something about a black hole or whatever? We believe maybe we know it, like people who are working for NASA in America. We believe that we can give a figure how many galaxies we have, how many star forms or whatever we have in the universe, but I don't believe that anybody could really give a concrete figure. But the spirit on the other side, if let's say an archangel would do a channeling, they know exactly what they're talking about, or Claudius. We had many channelings from Claudius, sometimes Jesus Christ, archangels, different people from the other side, no? and they know exactly what they're talking about.
Okay, so let's move on. We wanted to read part of this book so that people can get a little bit of a feeling for this. And you chose the section called Earth is a Learning Planet. And it's an interesting chapter, but it's not particularly long, which makes it suitable to play. I got 4 pages here. Gerd suggested we do the following. This is a conversation, and you have to imagine this. Gerd and Raphael are sitting on a bench overlooking the sea, okay? And they're having this conversation. And how Gerd wanted us to do it is that he will read the role of Gerd. So he's going to be reading
of myself, yes.
It's
yes.
basically himself.
Yeah.
And I will be taking the role of Raphael, the wise man who's a spiritual being in human form, telling Gerd what is happening. So that I thought was an interesting way to do it. And so I will read the introduction, and then you can start with surely there are. Okay, good.
Okay.
So
okay, let me begin here. After I had recovered from my emotional state, my mind now allowed me to animate the conversations with new questions. In my opinion, interesting questions. Surely there are other planets in the galaxy that could be used as learning planets.
Of course, even with your limited imagination, you speak of how infinite space is. If you take this as a basis, then it quickly becomes clear that not only your planet Earth, as you know it, favors and produces life forms, but many other planets as well. Of course, these alien inhabitants, as you call them, don't have to wear your clothes. I mean, look like you. The Creator has created many forms, and most are not found in the physical universe. They are very subtle and very advanced. The universe is unimaginably large and comprises more than 100 billion galaxies, which together contain hundreds of billions of solar systems. No man can measure the extent of the cosmos, let alone its age. This cosmos is the creation of the Almighty One, and the Creator God in turn is all what is, the mighty I Am. This, all that is, which was before all creation, formed countless realities and dimensions with creative intelligence. God is the only primordial force from which the entire cosmos unfolded, from which everything originated. There was no Big Bang, as your mechanistic view of the world forces this belief upon you. No matter has arisen from nothing. All development, evolution exclusively follow a divine plan, and all cosmic natural phenomena are nothing but an external expression of enormous processes of spiritual transformation, unfolding, and ascension. Even if you were able to recognize your planet Earth as a tiny blue dot in the midst of many star systems and galaxies, one should not derive its spiritual importance from the size of the planet. This planet plays a tremendously important, unique role in the galaxy and has soul development properties unlike any other planet. Planet Earth has a special meaning because of its polarity, which offers people an environment like no other planet to ascend spiritually in an extremely short time. There is no other planet in the galaxy where the forces between good and evil, as you would say, are stronger. Nowhere is the vibration lower. On no other planet is man more challenged.
So this planet is a real challenge, I interrupted briefly.
Indeed, he said. Some planets are characterized by the fact that you have to endure, even suffer, physical inconveniences. Other planets are characterized by mental challenges. This planet combines both, and be assured that your good results in this difficult world will be rewarded with recognition. People who rarely incarnate in the spirit world call you Indiana Jones as adventurers.
What makes Earth so attractive as a learning planet, I asked.
It's the opposites. On the one hand, there are the feelings that people have for each other, while on the other, they fight over each other. They fight each other. They wage war against each other and work together at the same time. It may all seem very contradictory, but that is exactly what appeals to the souls over there. People have so much pride and at the same time, so little self-respect. They can be egocentric, like great statesmen, and at the same time, vulnerable like little children. Everything is hidden in them. They're able to produce evil traits. And at the same time, they are looking
Loving.
Sorry. And at the same time, I lost the same.
They are loving and caring.
Something just popped up on the screen and distracted me. Sorry about that. Everything is hidden in them. They are able to produce evil traits and at the same time are loving and caring. The same person may show weakness today and may behave selflessly and courageously minutes later in the day. It is a constant tug of war between human values.
So are there other qualities that distinguish us humans from many other beings?
Yes, there are. There's hardly a race like humans that can stand up for others with so much passion. It is this helpfulness and passion to help other humans to fight for their passion for life.
Okay, that's right. Yes, unfortunately, there's also passion to hurt other people. The tendency for malice is very noticeable and pronounced.
That's right. But when people are in trouble, you can show yourself from the best side. The best comes out of them. What happens
to the people who simply do not find love and always violate the laws of humanity? Let's say constantly oppressing, raping, torturing, hurting, killing people in renewed incarnations. If after, say, 200 incarnations, still no progress in development is recognizable, is the soul energy then absorbed or terminated?
Until a person is completely energetically absorbed, as you tend to say, because absolutely no more positive development is to be expected. He has already been refreshed many times with positive energy. I don't want to go further into this any further.
Are souls allowed to return to their groups and incarnate later?
Yes, of course. We do not hinder development, but promote it with all our love, because we are aware that we are all one. Recognize that we are all connected with each other. The love I give to others, I give to myself. In other words, I experience love for myself by loving someone else. We are energetically connected, yet humans do not recognize this because you hold on to a model of thought which is a lie, namely separateness. This model is a deception. See it this way. I've already explained it. We are all like a drop of water in the ocean and have not yet understood that we all form a huge ocean as a whole.
Do animals have a soul too?
I am surprised that you, of all people, asked me this question. Anyone who has even looked into the eyes of an animal, whether cat or dog or guinea pig, knows the answer. Animals do not have an individual soul like you humans, but there is nothing in the universe that is not without a soul. Every animal, every plant, every stone has a soul and consciousness. Perhaps you would describe it as partial consciousness.
If I have understood everything correctly up to now, the incarnations serve our spiritual development through our experiences or to reduce karma. What would be the point, however, if a 3-month-old child dies in the arms of the parents? Some children die after just few days due to a birth defect. What is the benefit of the soul in starting such a short incarnation? I don't see the meaning.
That is a good question, although it is not difficult to answer. In this case, it is not about the soul of the child, who just plays a role in the scenario as a fill-in. If souls make themselves available for such a short incarnation, they only help out briefly so that the parents can experience the loss of their child. This may be due to the fact that the parents abused and eventually killed another child in a previous life. Even if they are a loving couple in this life, no one can spare them the grief and pain caused by the loss of their beloved and in most cases, most sought after child, tearing their hearts apart. The pain and anguish that this painful loss entails gives these parents an insight into the effects of the death of a blood relation. These souls have chosen this painful experience themselves. Each experience is a product of their own free will.
This is really a good explanation and makes sense, but also indicates that relatives on a physical level sometimes decide to reincarnate among themselves.
Family ties, race and culture are not the only deciding factors for the next life of a soul. The soul first and foremost chooses a body with a brain that can fulfill the expectations set for the task in future life. Parents with their genetic code on the other physical level provide the basis to meet the demands and expectations in this life. On the one hand, the character imprint of the parents can be a helpful support for the young, growing person, but it can also be a great challenge, especially if the child's consciousness is far higher developed than that of the parents. In many cultures, such as the Native Americans, souls are expected to remain within the bloodlines of their families. For example, a dying man would come back as his own unborn grandchild.
And don't many European noble families have similar expectations?
That's true, he continued. When the soul returns to the body of a relative, there are usually unusual karmic circumstances. For example, brothers and sisters who had a close relationship with each other could, thanks to reincarnation, resume a broken bond in order to complete an important task. This broken relationship is not a product of chance. As you can imagine, nothing happens by chance, especially when souls choose a life that ends prematurely. Premature death is part of planning and always serves a purpose. Early death due to catastrophe or sudden illness resulting in death are products of meticulous planning. Even if you humans explain many things with the fact that you have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, just as a theatre actor on stage in a drama has to die in the arms of a lover at a certain point in time, our actions on the stage of this life are also predetermined. I emphasize this life because it is not your only life. With that, we end the recital from the book, which we hope you found entertaining. And for more, obviously, you can get the book. I did put links to where you can get to the book in the invitation which was sent out, and I will also add the links when this video goes out. And so what can you say to sum it up, Gerd?
What I believe is that this person, Gerd, could stand for many other people. You can replace it by anyone else who has questions like that. And it was actually, the idea was actually to have a question answer novel. And that was the idea. Maybe in the second book later, if we have one, we have new questions, and I go to the bench again, meet Raphael, and the dialogue goes on.
And I think that the final question I have to ask you about this, now you are still connected to the spiritual world, you tell me, what was their reaction to your book?
You mean what it changed in my life? What it
No. Since you wrote the book, the spiritual world, you must know that you did this. Yeah. So did you get some feedback about your book from the spiritual world?
Yes, from Raphael, and Raphael said, "Be a little bit patient, and you will see, you will reach many people. The time will come, and people are interested in that. It has to do with an awakening process, and the people are more and more open for these, you can say, for this kind of books."
Yes, yeah. And I think the world is going through a great awakening process right now, and this could be a time when your book can help a great deal of people.
Yeah, it could really be helpful for many people. It doesn't matter if you want to understand what is going on the other side. Maybe not everybody likes to know that what is going on when we I say die, leave our physical body. Mm-hmm. But I believe it is helpful for people to understand where we really are, that we are all connected, and this whole idea, this idea of separateness is a lie, is an illusion. We are all one, we are all connected, and in the moment when you know that, then it gives us a completely new understanding, and we behave differently. Mm-hmm. That is, I think this is really important for the new age, for the new future, to understand where we really are. Look, people who left the body, many people have after meditation, or maybe with LSD or whatever, out-of-body experience. These people who have already an out-of-body experience or a near-death experience, they are totally changed after that. They are not longer the same person, because there you haven't to tell them that we are all connected, that we are all one.
Mm. And you had an out-of-body experience, you told me, at least once.
I had one out-of-body experience.
And that totally changed you?
I had this out-of-body experience later, not at the beginning. Mm. I made already so many different other experiences before, and I got so many knowledge from the spirits that I'm absolutely sure, I'm totally convinced about that, what is written in the book. We are all one. It is as we read it from the book. We see us based of our ego mind. We see us as a water drop, but we are already the part of the whole ocean. That means all the water drops together are the same essence, the same energy. We are all one.
Okay. All right. And with that, I think we should open up to questions so that other people can ask a question, because I can see people are waiting to ask us some questions.
Oh, yes, most definitely. So we're opening up. Sharon Mason. Sharon, go ahead.
Hello there. Hi.
Hi, Sharon. Where are you based, Sharon?
I'm in Amersham in the UK.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't know why it is, but whenever I am looking at the screen, it is always Sharon I can see on the screen. And I'm always wondering, where is she? Why am I always seeing Sharon on the screen?
Oh, I don't know. I just want to say thank you to both of you for your time, and thank you to Gerd, and his information is really, really interesting. And I've just started something called QHHT myself, so I'm doing quantum healing hypnosis on quite a few people in my sort of internship at the moment. So a lot of the things that he's been talking about have been coming out in my sessions, which is really interesting. And you can see so many people waking up, and I've had so many people coming through my sessions who are awake, which is really, really interesting, especially in my area where so many people are fast asleep. So yes, that's really good. And a lot of the information that he's talked about, I can confirm from my sessions. It's something I've seen and things that I've been reading in the books from Dolores Cannon as well. But what I wanted to actually ask today was completely unrelated.
Right.
Actually, it was about when you were talking about the Microsoft products going down, and I just wanted to say that the charity that I work for, it's just a very small charity, and they put all of their documents on SharePoint. And I know that's a Microsoft product, and I'm wondering whether or not that will go down, and whether or not I need to make sure that they back up everything on a hard.
Back it up.
Yes,
definitely back it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because
SharePoint is in the cloud. You need to get it off the cloud and back it up. So back it up hard copies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And the other question I have, and Peter might know a little bit about this, was about HS2, the high-speed rail network, which is currently being built in the UK. And I'm just wondering, I think it's a cabal project. And I'm just wondering, will it be stopped?
I honestly don't know the answer to that. I haven't looked. I know what HS2 is. I thought it already had been stopped. I know it's a very expensive project, but yeah. I honestly don't know the answer to that one.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you anyway. Thanks, guys.
You're very welcome.
All right. Jillian Grace. Jillian, go ahead.
She's working on it.
She's working on it.
There she goes.
I'm here. Thank you, Peter and Billy, for this session today, and that reading with Gerd and his presence as well. Absolutely fantastic. I have two quick questions. One is, I'm not a techie. I'm not a techie with my mobile phone or on any technical system. Do I need the Signal app on my mobile?
If you want to be able to communicate with other people who have the Signal app, then you need it. If you can live with going a few days without communicating with others and not hearing our news, then you don't need it. I would put it that way. The Signal app is basically a bridge to enable us to maintain communication when other communication networks like telephone and things like that, electronic communications and the internet may go offline.
Right, thank you. And I didn't have any success in, because I'm a bit slow, my Dong request didn't go through last week. Is it too late for me to order some Dong tomorrow?
As long as they're still shipping and taking orders, sure, it's still
that's
possible.
Right, yeah, as long as you can get them, because I think as soon as it's publicly announced what's happening with these currencies, then the dealers might wise up and not sell them anymore. But as long as you can get them, and you haven't got an appointment to play them, you should at least have them before you go to your appointment. So I would not delay any further. Order them as quickly as you can.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Jillian. Tamara, Saria. Go ahead, Tamara. Tamara?
Sorry, I had to get you back on full screen. It took me a second.
No problem.
So, is it okay if I ask a question about projects?
About what?
Projects.
Projects.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
I do have a question for Gerd too, but do you guys, do we need, because I think I asked you last time and Billy, you said that I could run it by you. Is that required for us to let people know we have a project, or
No,
is that even necessary?
that's not necessary.
Okay, good.
So,
So,
just when you make the appointment, tell them that you have a project.
okay, gotcha. Well, I heard you say
Right.
earlier today too that there might be 2 appointments. I'm like, well, that probably answered my question, but I wanted to make sure I asked.
Yeah.
And then question for Gerd, I would like to know what he thinks about the authenticity of our current Bible.
For me, I have a problem with we have to be a little bit more concrete. The New Testament and Old Testament. When it comes to the New Testament, I like it, and
Okay.
yeah, many things I like to read in the Old Testament, based on maybe translations or whatever. It looks like contradictions here and there. I have some problems with that part, and but at the end, I believe at that time the people wrote in their language. It was. I'm pretty sure it was right what they tried to say to the people, what they tried to deliver. But after all the thousands of years, what at the end is we can read in the book is a little bit difficult to read for the people today, based on different thinking.
Exactly, or different changes or perception of how it was supposed to be translated using their own words rather than Hebrew or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated today to understand for the people, because we grew up that we, even me with my kind of understanding, I need concrete things, and you have a guy who was sleeping. What is the name? A very famous guy in America, with predictions, over thousands of predictions.
Kim Clement.
The sleeping prophet. What was his name?
Oh,
Kim Clement.
No. Jesus, what a shame, man.
Edgar Casey.
I have it on the lips.
Edgar Casey.
Edgar Casey.
Yes.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Edgar Casey was a guy who was really, really, really precise. Precise with the time, with the way how he predicted things, and that, of course, he's a guy from our time. He delivers the messages in the way that we can understand it easily, much easier, and than things maybe which are 1,000 years ago or whatever. Edgar Casey really, really impressed me, much more than Nostradamus or whoever lived. No? Yeah.
Wonderful.
Did you ever read a book from or a prophecy from Edgar Casey? He told
I have not. I was going to write his name down.
many things extremely concrete, that not like Wrigley Spearmint, that you can pull it a little bit that it fits. No, very concrete. It's like in the computer world, yes or no, 1 or 0, true or false.
Fascinating.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tamara. Sherry.
Hi, thank you so much for today's session. I'm in North Carolina in the United States. This was very interesting. Thank you. My question is off topic, however. I know we have been warned that money in the banks is in danger. I guess I can put it that way. But what about money in the financial institutions like a Fidelity or a Charles Schwab? That's where I have some cash sitting when I came out of the stock market. Is that also is that backed up by the QFS, or is that in danger as well?
That's a good question. I'm not quite sure I know the answer to that. We are told that money in normal banks has been backed up by the QFS, so that should not necessarily be in danger, particularly if you're not over the certain insurance limits, because there are sort of insurance limits about how much money is guaranteed to be secure. But I honestly don't know about those particular assets you're talking about. If you can move it into something like gold or silver, that would be certainly a safe bet.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sherry. Karen Dobrich. Karen Dobrich.
Got it. Sorry.
There we are.
Sorry. Okay. Quick questions. If you do not have Zim, but you have Dong and Dinar, can you still can you book a redemption meeting?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes.
And ask for the contract rate?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Can you take Bolivar to that meeting?
Why not? Why not?
Well, yeah, why not? It's currency. It's
currency. It's an actual currency. Take what you have, and they should all be converted into the new system.
Thank you. One last question: would horse rescue be considered a humanitarian project?
Why not? Animals are also living beings on this world, and rescuing horses, because horses have a meaning here as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Karen. Cynthia Scholes. Hello, Cynthia.
Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Sure.
You're welcome.
I have a couple questions. I have 100 trillion Zim, and my plan is to buy houses for single moms. I have about 6 single moms that I'm aware of that are really struggling and would love to buy homes for them. And then the remaining, I understand we would get $30 million from 100 Zim. Yeah. And I'm thinking the remaining I would distribute within my family members that are struggling. Is this considered a humanitarian project?
That's more of a personal thing, distributing to family members who are struggling. You can do with that the 30 million that you have out of your own personal money. When we're talking about mankind projects, humanitarian projects, or whatever we want to call them, I think you have to think about more of your community as a whole, all right, instead of personal family business. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. What I would add to that is the 30 million is what you get for your own personal needs. So you could do with that, with helping your family, what you needed. The point of the project is to be able to help people. So maybe instead of thinking of just building houses for a few local people, try and make it bigger. Try and say, we want to have the funds to build maybe a complex of a building, maybe a large block of a home where you can help the people from the local area, not just the ones you know personally, but other people who are homeless and need a place to live. Just make it, just think bigger.
For example, the Stephen Stiller Tunnels to Towers Foundation is building an entire community down in Florida, based on what we just talked about. All right, building an entire community for wounded veterans. So if you want to find out more of what they do, and maybe have something similar to that, just go to Tunnels to Towers Foundation, all right, and look up their project down in Florida, where they're building an entire community instead of just individual homes.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I have another quick question. In distributing money to family and friends, would it be subject to tax?
No.
Taxes go away.
Taxes disappear. The only taxes we're going to still have are going to be sales tax. So if you're buying something new, which is non-essential, then there will be taxes that will be taxed. But there is no income tax anymore.
Okay.
That goes away.
All right, great. And I had a quick question for Gerd. I remember years ago reading Edgar Casey, and Edgar Casey saying that Russia would save the world. I don't know if Gerd remembers anything like that.
Just switch.
There's a microphone on. Yes, I remember that. Yes, and he spoke about also about something. People are talking about that Putin could be something like a person who could save this world based on this prediction. I don't know every word in this prediction because I don't have it in original form. So I read it a couple of times in the internet. I know that something like that exists from Edgar Casey, but I don't know the original. I never read the original script. So original script is available. Somewhere in America, there is something like a big building, and they have all the prophecies from Casey available and for the public. No, but
I think it's in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have it.
Thank you.
Well, I think it makes sense because isn't that what he's doing right now in Ukraine?
Yes.
That he's ridding us of all the evil people and the evil actors in Ukraine, which are doing terrible things to children and with the biolabs to us all. So yes, it is Putin saving the world by getting rid of these terrorists. So I think that it sounds to me like that prophecy is coming true.
All right. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you.
Delise Vicino. Did I get that right?
You got it perfectly. Thank you.
Where are you, Delise?
I'm in Israel at the moment. I live between Israel and Italy.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you.
And I need to ask some questions. First, I want to thank you very, very much for what you're doing. Very much.
Well, thank you.
And I wanted to ask you a couple of questions precisely about this. I had my son buy Dong in Italy. And I'm going to need to go there. And I was worried a little bit about the traveling during this, if there's going to be the possibility of traveling while this blackout, is the redemption and the blackout going to overlap, and how would that affect things? And if the blackout is happening, what would happen with the redemption centers? Would they be able to function?
Well, I would answer that as following. Israel is the last country to be cleaned up. And so in particularly Israel, I'm expecting there to be pretty harsh lockdowns while it's being cleared up.
Really?
So if you can get out of Israel before that happens, that might be a wise event.
But would I be able to take my Dong bought in Israel to Italy?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
I can go to a redemption center there.
Yeah, why not? There are redemption centers going to be everywhere. So when you can make an appointment where you are located. But certainly we have been hearing that there will be very hard lockdowns, that planes and trains and airplanes and stuff will all be stopped from moving during the lockdown period.
Oh, really? Okay, so Israel will be one of the hardest places.
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely.
Israel is on the last of the list apparently because of what's happening in Israel.
Okay. All right, and then I wanted to ask you, okay, someone answered this, and I just, someone in the chat, I was worried about the Green Pass because Italy, for example, is really, really holding on to this Green Pass situation. And would we be able to go into the redemption centers without the green pass? That's what I was a little bit concerned about.
I think all the green pass things is going to end when GESARA
They're
is
going to,
announced.
yes.
Yeah,
someone
it's all
is
going to go
be-
bye-bye.
It's
Yeah.
all going to
Okay.
go.
Before we actually have to go into the,
Yeah. As I understand it, yes.
Yes.
okay. Okay, and all right, so, okay, you sort of answered another question by telling me that I should probably, it'd be better for me to be in Italy
Yeah,
to do this.
I think
Now,
so, yeah.
my receipts, because my receipts are gonna be in Hebrew, the ones that I bought here.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
just
Doesn't
I can
matter.
present these, my name is on it, and that's all that
Yep.
matters.
They will see it. It's a
that's
receipt,
it.
they'll see it.
Okay, let's see, 1 second. Okay, so another thing is I'm not a resident in Italy. Don't you have to be a resident where you go to the redemption center?
No.
You don't have to be.
No,
No.
not that I know
Okay.
of, but you
My
do
son
have
is
to
a
have proof.
resident there.
You do have to have proof of your identity and proof of where you are a resident.
Okay,
Yes.
I have that. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
All
2
right.
forms of identification.
right.
Okay.
Okay, all right, perfect. All right.
right.
Okay, the states, traveling to the states during this period, you say get there first, right? Because Israel's gonna lock down. All right.
We're imminent. We don't know exactly when it's all
Yeah.
gonna come crashing down, but it's imminent.
It's
Okay.
imminent.
Okay.
It's likely to be sooner than later. And
Okay,
okay, did that answer your
so
question?
thank you very, very much. I appreciate your help and time. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Delise.
Thank
Our
you.
pleasure. Kathleen Bono. Kathleen.
Oh, I just muted.
Oh,
You
Let's
never
see.
s-
I think I've got it right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yep,
we can.
Yep, sure can.
Have you got a camera as
So,
well?
pardon me?
You switch on your camera as well?
Oh, no, my office is kind of a mess.
We don't get. All right.
Just pretend I'm still young and beautiful.
I remember
really
I
not
remember
anymore,
the old
but-
adage, a clean desk is the sign of a sick mind.
Yes, my mother and father were gold miners. And when they went into my mother's office, it was a total disaster area. And I go, Mom, why don't you clean that up? You're such an organized mind. You're organized with the gold and weights and all that stuff and what you do and how you clean it. And she says, because most people expect an office to be organized and easy to find stuff.
Oh,
And they can't find it if it's disorganized. For example, when she was finally, it did happen that somebody held her at gunpoint, trying to get her gold. Well, she didn't hide her gold in the traditional things that people expected to see.
Right.
So she just sat there through all those hours of torture and just put out the thought, all I have is what's in my purse. So they took the $150 out of her purse.
Yep.
Never found the gold.
Wow.
And that's a prime example of the power of thought and focus.
I
I listen to you guys, and Gerd, where is that young man?
He's right here.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because you and Jane Roberts, the nature of personality and her channeling of Seth, to Abraham Hicks, to my mission in life being the actual physical presence in physical form of someone who says, wake up, find your own inner heart and true self with God. You come along with the same information and it's so needed. And people say, well, nobody else. Well, there's a lot of people in this world now who are coming forth with that information, and it's so important. But what I'm finding as I listen to this show, Charlie's show, Mahoney's show, MarkZ's show, X22, and all the other Patriot shows out there, is people are still reaching. And please don't be insulted, because I'm trying to snap the conscious mind into not reaching to outside sources to understand what is truly within. So we have been programmed into this narrative that our ego mind must be asking all these questions to be a dutiful citizen, right? But you're not asking your heart those dutiful questions. You're asking outside sources. So now you're wind up going from one sheep mentality to becoming a sheep in the next mentality. So still you are not striving for your true higher conscious self.
What you're doing is you're being a white sheep following a black sheep in through a chute. Okay.
Right. And then
that's leading to your ultimate doom.
A white sheep. What I strongly, you know, we have our conscious mind, which focuses the physical experience. We have our ego. And if you want to look at it like from a one source ocean that we all are a part of, it's like many, many slivers. And each one is just as powerful as the next, and no one is any dumber or unaware. It's just what they chose to believe and focus in this reality. When I chose my parents, I truly remember choosing them and why I chose the father with the inner wisdom that he did have to keep me balanced, because I knew I was going to encounter a lot of negativity in the belief structures of people. I watched people not take responsibility for their life and their actions. They keep looking for someone else to say, oh, well, I listened to you. No, listen to your own self. You know your heart. You know when it is safe. People say, why don't you read more? And I say, because it did not come from within. But if you want to recite to me what you've read, I can certainly clarify from within whether what you're telling me is true. So if you assume, although they left out a lot, that the Bible is real, what is the most important thing he said? You are as I am. You all can do as I have done. And I've sat around for years going, what's our excuse for not? And believe me, it's an excuse.
Exactly. The God spark is in each and every one of us.
Every one of us.
All we have to do is learn to go inward and
trust it.
And what the God spark, it's like what I call a pilot light on a stove.
Right.
Okay?
I think Gerd wanted to say something to this. Gerd?
Yeah, go ahead, Gerd.
No, she's absolutely right. We have to take responsibility. We have to go inside us, and everything is available. Many instances are inside us. We have the ego mind, which is sometimes like a terrorist.
Yes.
We have also the soul which is connected to the you can say Almighty or the God energy. Everything is available, and we can choose what we.
That's right.
Which instance is has the power in the moment, which is useful to us.
And that's just it. The moment. My experiences, when I experience, and I love the fact that in all the forms of reality that we can imagine, in this reality, we have sight, smell, touch, communication, sensation, expression, all of those wonderful things in one reality. Isn't that just fantastic? So when I walk outside as a child and am able to smell and feel everything growing in a spring morning as it comes to life and grow, and I take off like a bird in flight and experience just exactly what it feels like to be an eagle overlooking the land, to me, that is natural.
Yeah.
That is not anything that stops me from doing that is my own beliefs that I have taken along the way. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. Please, with the love of yourself, love yourself that much.
Thank you very much, Kathleen.
All right. Thank you, Kathleen.
Gerd.
Thank you.
All right. Sandra Toms. Hello, Sandra.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Sandra. Where are you?
Good. I'm in Canada, and I actually have questions regarding that. most of the people that I listen to, Charlie and, you know, David and you guys, are kind of in other places. And with the current leadership in Canada, we have some challenges. And I'm wondering, are we part of this whole thing, or are we kind of a different little group?
No,
and
you're
the
all
reason-
part,
Very
it's
much
all
part
part
of
of the
it,
same
yeah.
thing. Yeah, most definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
and the reason I'm asking, sorry, I do want to hear what you have to say, but something's come up is I've been trying to register for a course in Australia, and I'm getting a blank. I can't find that page, and I can't get Telegram to work, and I can't get Signal to work. And maybe that's just my own lack of ability with these new devices. But I am aware that there is censorship going on. Can you comment on any of that, or shall I just stop stressing about it and wait for things to happen?
Well, there is a lot of censorship. Telegram is probably one of the least censored places. So you can certainly go to Telegram and you can find all kinds of information. Obviously, not everybody on Telegram is saying the right things, but in general, it's a good crowd on Telegram. And it is an ability to reach people in places like Australia. But we have members of our group who are in Australia. Like Nick is one person who is a regular contributor to this show. And I say, from what I know about Canada, Canada is very much part of this great awakening. And as far as I know, it's Trudeau himself is an actor playing a role rather than the real Trudeau. So I think Trudeau's, and you have this Queen of Canada who is very loud. Now, some people think she's legitimate, sometimes she's not, so people don't. But what she's saying, a lot of it makes sense. So that is definitely showing that there is movement in Canada, which is important.
Okay, so in terms of like this whole push to be sovereign and the Commonwealth thing, is that going to be a blanket on the planet, or do I need to go and get my birth certificate and all that other junk?
No, it will be blanketed. It'll be worldwide. You know, here in the United States, we do have the United States Constitution, all right, which is based off of what is known as the Magna Carta, all right. And so everything is going to be based off of, well, here in the United States, the 1776 Constitution, and there'll be other countries who adopt similar types of things based on our Constitution and the Magna Carta.
Well, with Canada being part of the UK's world, then it's probably more the Magna Carta, which would be more a basis of the Canadian way of thinking. But I say they're not that far apart, and we're in for a tremendous adventure.
Okay, well, let's sure hope so. So, oh, one more thing. My mortgage is due here in about 5 days. Shall I renew it, or shall I just wait and see?
I would wait.
Because I don't want to sign anything.
I would wait and see, because mortgages are due for debt forgiveness, and that's likely to happen in May. So delay things into May.
Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you so very, very much. Loved the show today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sandra. Pam Duckworth. Hello, Pam. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm in the UK.
I thought you would somehow.
Yep.
Where about in the UK?
I'm in Blackpool.
Oh, in Blackpool. I've been there. Yes.
Yeah.
Love the tower.
not the best place to be, really.
Well, I've been there, I think, once. So I spent about 2 or 3 days there, and I enjoyed the time.
Oh, good. I have bought Dong, mainly Dong. I bought them in my name. Right. My husband would like to go to the Redemption Centre with some of them. Is it possible for him to go with half and for me to go with half?
Yeah, you can. What you should do is you should formally gift it to him.
Gift it to? How do I formally do that?
Just write it out on a piece of paper that I officially gift this amount to my husband.
Okay, right.
Just sign it, and then you should be okay.
Fantastic. Okay. I have told a lot of people about this. People that I like and people that I want to help. Some of us haven't. those who have listened and have bought maybe £100 worth, not a lot, but they bought a little bit, do they go to redemption centres or do they go to the bank?
If they
Currency exchange.
Go to the redemption centres if you can, because you get the better rate. We'll only have about 10 days to make appointments for the redemption centres.
Yeah.
So if they can go to the redemption centre, they'll get a much better rate than if they wait and get the standard rate.
And with just £100, maybe 2.5 million dong, it's that they don't have to have big.
No. That's fine.
And
That'll work.
that money can go to help families and friends.
With Dong and Dinar, it's basically a money exchange. So what you do with it is your thing, as long as it's nothing nefarious.
Exactly.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Now I bought some Thai baht about the same time as I got my dong, because we were intending going to Thailand. I think I've only got £200 worth. Should I take that with me?
Yeah, take what you have.
Yeah, whatever you have.
Whatever you have, take it with you, because everything is going to be exchanged somehow.
It'll be better than hanging on to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Wonderful. Let me just have a look. Have I got anything else? We're going on holiday at the end of this month to Mallorca.
Okay.
Oh,
now,
okay.
Is it all going to, if it hasn't kicked off by then, what is the best thing for me to do? I'm very, very wary of taking it all with me.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we are expecting it to happen about. I would just hold on for as long as you can. If you can delay your holiday a little bit, it would be ideal, because it's possible you won't be able to fly anyway, because there's going to be lockdowns.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
if we get out there, I need it with me in case I can't get back.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, we're going to be going into martial law. All right, military lockdowns at some point. All right. So when that happens, planes, trains, everything's going to be grounded. So prepare accordingly.
So if I've got, say, £800 or £900 worth of dong, which is about 28 million dong, where the heck do I carry that in my handbag? Do I say to them,
any other currency, if you have a secure bag, or you can even declare it, but I mean, it's not that much money. You can just say it's a keepsake or whatever,
I'm not doing anything illegal taking it with me.
No, it's a currency. You can take currency internationally.
Exactly.
Okay. Right. Okay, that's everything. Thank you so much. You're very, very.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Pam.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Claire Warner.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Claire.
Hi. Thank you for tonight. Really, really interesting. One question for Gerd. Were you talking to Archangel Raphael, do you believe?
When I was talking to Raphael, or what was the question?
And you were talking to, when you met Raphael at the bench, do you believe it was Archangel Raphael?
Yeah, I had some medial connections with Raphael recently. Even when the time was with Corona vaccination, Raphael is something like a healing angel, and it was interesting how he was thinking about vaccination and the whole Corona issue. And he said, I haven't to tell you that because you have it already inside you, and you know already what to do, because the way how you behave and the way how you decide is correct. He said many people will realize in the next month what will come if you follow the big mass. That means there's many people, the big mass.
The mass of people.
Instead of following the voice of your heart. That is what he wrote recently. And so actually he confirmed my decision to stay away from this so-called vaccination. And that a couple of times I had some medial connections. It was not only that, I had many other media connections and channelings, and it's always interesting to find out how they think about some issues here, what is going on.
Indeed, yes.
Mostly they say you have to live, follow your heart, but on the other side, they know me, because this answer, follow your heart, you know it, is not enough. I'm penetrant, what sagt man, Peter?
You're penetrant, yeah.
Yeah. I'm asking again and again and again and again. I want to know.
Penetrating.
Yes, penetrating, yes. Yeah. I want to know it until I have a very clear answer.
Yeah. I talked to him a lot, asking him to keep my family safe, because my children have all had vaccinations, etc. So I speak to Archangel Raphael many times a day.
Oh, interesting.
Thank you. Very interesting.
All right. Thank you, Claire. Appreciate it. Robbie, hello. Come on in, Robbie.
Hi, Billy. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, so I have a question regarding the project. There is an existing project in California that's called Roadmap Home 2030. And this is to create affordable homes, protect low-income renters and homelessness and so forth. And I wanted to find out if I wanted to, participate in that, or continue with that project or expand that project. Would that considered to be humanity project?
Sure.
I would think so,
it's
yeah.
Creating housing,
Creating housing, you have to think of basic needs of people. They need to be housed, they need to eat, they need to sleep, have to be safe. These are all basic human needs, and that's what it's all about.
Got it. So if it's already an existing a project, right, I can go ahead and continue that with them, or
are you already involved in that project?
No, I'm not.
Well, you would need to get permission to take their project over, that's for sure. Or create something similar to it.
So I would talk to them and say that you have the possibility that you'll be coming into some funds, and you need information like business plans and stuff, which you would need in order to secure those funds.
Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, that's it. That's all I needed to find out. Thank you so much.
Right.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Robbie. All right, let's move on. Steinar.
Thank you. I'm brand new here. I got the Zimbabwean 100 trillion, and I will get the Dong tomorrow. I just wonder about the time frame here, because, well, one concern is I have my wife coming to Norway from Bali in less than 3 weeks, and also the time frame for what is the terms here? What do I need to do with the money I get, the Dong and the Zimbabwean? And how you could give me just 20-second rundown. I couldn't get in at the beginning of the call, so I just got in.
Okay. So you basically you've got some currency and you want to know what is going to happen. I mean, to put it in a nutshell, we're waiting for the ability to go in for exchanges. That we're expecting that between now and May. We'll be given a phone number or a website where we can register for an appointment, and then we go to the appointment. We need 2 forms of identification, and if obviously you need the currency plus receipts for where you got that currency. And if you've got ZIMs, ZIMs are to be connected with humanitarian projects. So you will need a business plan for your humanitarian project, so that you can explain what it is you want to do, what project you want to get involved with those projects.
Yeah, good. And so further info of the timing, will that come from you, or is it from government?
Keep watching our channels. because I don't think the government will be telling you. It will be channels like ours or Charlie's or I don't know where you came from, but keep watching us. As soon as we know something, we are going to be putting the information out.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
You're
Thank you, Steinar. Appreciate it. Matthew.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Hi, Matthew.
How you doing, Matthew?
Hi. Good. Thank you. MarkZ said that the QFS is a system, not an account. I think you got that from Michael Cottrell. Anyway,
Right.
my understanding is that, so with your Zim dollars and your project, so you get your Zim dollars and the aim is to ultimately put it into a bank, or do you leave it into the QFS system?
We don't know exactly what's going to happen. Obviously, some kind of banking, whether it's going to be a banking system which comes out of the QFS, but say QFS is like SWIFT. I mean, none of us have bank accounts with SWIFT. SWIFT is a system for transferring money from one bank account to another, just like QFS is a system which moves money. Whether we will be using existing bank accounts or whether we'll be getting whole new kinds of bank accounts is something we all want to know about. Certainly, the money in your existing bank accounts will be the start. Whether that will be the end is another question. I think we're going to be moving into digital accounts. So it's going to be more like XRP, that kind of thing.
Okay. One last quick question. The 10 days of darkness, is that associated with the military lockdown?
Yeah, that's going to be the time when the world goes into military lockdown, when the existing governments are taken out of power, and then what, you know, in order to calm things down and take control, we will be under military control until the re-elections, which are 120 days later.
Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to get at is in regards to travel, you know, some people need to travel, some people want to travel, and obviously wait till the lockdown is complete. So what sort of time frame are we looking at? Is it 10 days or it could be longer?
I think 10 to 13 days is the period where things will be restricted. And we may get those days back because we may be switching from Gregorian to Julian calendar, meaning that at the end of that period, you're back at the date you entered that period, because we're switching calendar system.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Sherry?
I am back with a question prompted by the person who asked about renewing her mortgage.
Yes.
United States taxes are due today, and I'm wondering if we should still hold off or should we just give in and pay it?
I would hold off, to be honest.
If you can file an extension, great. Okay. Because of circumstances beyond my control and my ex-wife, I had to file mine. All right. Because she doesn't believe it's the way I do. So we did ours about 3 weeks ago. But you know, we still have to play the game. All right. So if you can file an extension, great. If not, then go ahead and submit. Everything's going to be refunded to you anyway. Okay.
I did file the extension. My accountant says I need to pay the money now anyway, and I've never done an extension before. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to play the game at this point. Okay.
If you could delay until May, that question might answer itself.
All right.
Okay. Or maybe just send in a little sampling.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sherry. Gaydon.
Our accountant just told us we could not, by the way, not pay something when we filed the extension. So we had to go ahead and pay. We put it in the check in the mail today.
Oh.
That's not what I was going to ask. Question for Gerd. Has he read Sylvia Browne? She wrote Life on the Other Side many years ago. She's written many books. I just wondered if he'd heard of her.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Carry on, Gerd.
No, I didn't. I didn't read it.
She's been around for many years, so just wondered. She's written one of her first books was Life on the Other Side, and it was a fantastic book.
Yeah.
So anyway, highly recommend you. It's probably in paperback by now.
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right.
Maybe
okay.
you can write her name down in the chat so that we
Yes,
can all see who
please.
it is.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I'll do that. I do have a question. Is anybody, a lot of sites on Telegram are promoting these Trump coins.
Scam.
Scam. Okay. And on a humanitarian project, can you team up with a friend?
Sure.
Okay. Do we go to the appointment together, or do we?
If you're running the project together, then probably yes. But when you make the appointment, make them aware of this.
Okay. Okay. She and I both do Medicare insurance, and I know that a lot of our customers are going to be so confused, and so many of them need dental work, help with housing, wheelchair ramps, and really education to understand what's going on. Many of them don't have computers. Some of them don't have.
Well, that's one of
very high education.
I think that's what our community is all about as well, in helping with the education, because there's going to be a lot of people who need knowledge to understand how to get through this. And this is what channels like ours are all about, I think. And for us as a community, we're already giving you a whole load of information, so you will be able to help the people, your people locally.
All right.
Okay. Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gaden. Carolyn Christ. Carolyn. Oh, caught her off guard there.
Hello.
Hello,
Carolyn.
Good to talk to you guys. This has been a real interesting program today. I have a couple questions. Number one, I bought some dinar from my brother back in 2010. Somebody had come into a church, but it appears to be authentic, but I didn't get any papers with it. So
does
what's
not
your
matter.
feel on that?
Doesn't take it with you.
Take it with you. Maybe you can get your brother to say that he sold it to you. Yeah, you write that down.
He passed away. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, then, whatever. Just tell them the
they'll
story.
be able to tell whether it's authentic
That's
or
right.
not.
I wouldn't
Okay.
worry about it too much.
But you could still go for the contract
Yeah,
rate,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's a little on the other side of this. I hear a lot about medians and all of that stuff. Biblically speaking, it's not something that should be done. And I guess that's where I'm having some issues with some of this stuff. And same thing with tarot cards and stuff like that. So what's y'all's stance on that?
Gerd?
That's a question for Gerd, yes.
As this forbidden information about do you mean what came from the church, or what forbidden?
No, using mediums, and so it's looked at as being something negative or whatever.
Like in the Bible.
Like in the Bible.
Like in the Bible. Yeah, I only can talk about what I think, but in this case, I have no information from the spiritual world, which I could give to you. And but maybe with the next book, I have some answers for that. In the moment, I have no idea. I couldn't give you an answer for that.
Okay.
And it seemed like someone had said something about, was the Bible, do you think the deep state has messed with the Bible as far as interpretation?
I understand very well what you are talking about, and I have my own thoughts, but this is maybe not an issue here, what I believe or what I think. But next time, I have it already on the paper. I will talk with the spirits about these issues. And of course, there are they're told already. Many things are manipulated, and we have to wake up. We have to go into our feelings, into our intuition, to separate the lies which comes from outside, and this is the reason why we are in the moment in something like an awakening process. No? Of course, they are not willing to give me answers to all my questions, because I have hundreds of questions which has to do with the situation in the moment, and they are not when they say to me, Gerd, we are not your information office.
All right.
So, go into yourself and please go into you and do meditation, and you will get all the answers you need time by time. But we have to learn to listen to ourselves. No? Yeah.
All right.
May I respond to Carolyn? Kathleen Bonnell, may I respond to Kathleen?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So Carolyn, I want you to
Yes.
ask yourself these questions. Was everything about Jesus Christ's life put in the Bible? Who wrote the Bible, by whose interpretation, and who decided what went into the Bible? And
Right.
if we are all like Jesus Christ, Christ was the best medium for God we have ever known.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense.
That's a good answer, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. We got time for a couple more here. We got to move on. All
That's
right.
right, yes.
So Matey, go ahead.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Hi.
All right.
Hi, Maddie. Nice to see you again.
I got a silly question. My mom passed away not too terribly long ago, and I keep finding like jars of quarters, but I've also found lots of foreign coins. I don't even know where they're from. Can I take those to the exchange?
I would do those at a currency exchange, not at an appointment. Don't bring a big jar
No.
of pennies
Okay.
or coins or stuff like that.
I don't think
that
would
is
be
a totally
welcome.
separate issue.
Okay. And then I have sort of a kind of a probably silly question too. I mean, to me, I think it's kind of funny. So, with the announcement of NESARA GESARA, all the people holding public office are supposed to step down.
That's right.
So who steps down? Crazy not Joe Biden or Trump?
They all step down.
Everybody steps down.
Trump too.
So crazy not Joe Biden has to step down, as well as Trump, and then we okay. All right, I just thought that
Trudeau
was
and
kind of
Boris
silly
Johnson,
little.
everybody steps down, and then we're going to have a military government until new elections come in and we elect new leaders.
And that goes all the way. That goes all the way down to the city level, right?
Because all the governments, everything strips down. What happens in your local city level, I can't answer, because it could be in your local area differently to elsewhere. But on a government level, they all have to step down.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you guys. And by the way, your friend Gerd. Wow. Just wow. Thank you. Awesome food for thought today. Thank you for sharing.
Get his book.
Right.
God bless y'all.
Really good. Yeah.
We got time for one more. Kevin Lewis. Hello, Kevin.
Hello there. A lady somewhat answered the question earlier. We picked up our dinar about 20 years ago, and there's no receipt that we can find with that package.
We have this quite often, and I would say it's not a problem. Just explain how you got it. That should be enough. I don't think dinar is going to be an issue.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Well, folks, we've run out of time. But thank you all for showing up here today. Appreciate it. Gerd, thank you for the enlightenment. Really appreciate it. Any final thoughts on the day?
Very welcome.
Any final thoughts you'd like to impart on us today?
You're thinking about it. Let's take a Duncan.
The last thought. Yeah, the last thoughts are very, very easy. This is what I said already. I can repeat it. The message is don't listen too much to other people, what they say. It doesn't matter, politicians or whatever. Go into your own heart and you get the right message. This is my message to you, and this is what I'm doing. And believe me, your intuition is mostly not cheating you.
Exactly. Go inward. Your gut's going to tell you everything. Your intuition. All right.
Okay. And I say, as someone who's translated his book and obviously read it all, it's a fantastic book. It's well worth reading. If you're looking for a comparison, Conversations with God is a similar book. But Gerd's book takes the different aspects of that, and there's a lot you can learn from reading his book. It costs a few dollars. We'll be posting the links to this. I think that the links are actually in the invitation. Go and get the book. It's well worth it. It's a great book to read.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for showing up today. I really appreciate it. Everybody wave bye-bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Have a blessed day, everyone. And we will see you on Thursday.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks, y'all. Good one.
All
Good to
right.
meet you, Gert.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Glastonbury.
Bye.